Today I'm going to explain to my miniature dachshunds why I had to leave them with Grandma and show them my holiday photos. But will the girls be excited to see all the animals in a white rhino conservation project in South Africa, or be annoyed I left without them? Therefore, I showed them a small video of the trip so they would know why it was better for them to stay in their own place with Grandma watching over them. Of course, I showed them the white rhinos first, but the girls think they would have been able to play with them and come along. I explained to the little sausages that these rhinos look very friendly but are still wild animals living in the bush and are not pets. They seemed very confused. I also explained that the horns have to be trimmed every year so the poachers do not come and kill these beautiful animals for their horn, but I could see the confusion in their faces. Therefore, I explained that the keratin in the rhino horns was like a fingernail and so would regrow. But Foxy was not sure why people would want this in the first place. To be honest, I couldn't really explain that part except that some people think it has healing properties. But this explanation seemed to confuse the girls more. If the horn regrows and has been trimmed every year, why would it not be possible to sell the horn to those who believed it had medicinal properties? Well, that was a good question. The reason is that the sale of any rhino horn is illegal in South Africa. This illegalization of horn sale not only increased the demand, but the price skyrocketed on the black market and more rhinos got poached than ever before. It got so bad that the total white rhino population in South Africa got to 30. Yes, 30. You heard correctly. Amy and Foxy seemed confused. So after it was made illegal to trade rhino horn, more rhinos got killed. Sadly, yes. So what happens to all the horn that gets trimmed every year to stop poachers killing the rhinos? Foxy asks. She is the clever one. Well, it has to be stored in very expensive vaults, and that costs the conservation reserves a lot of money. But even Amy had a good question. Why don't they legalize the sale of rhino horn with heavy conservation taxes, as the horn has to be trimmed to keep the animals safe anyway? But that was a question I could not answer, as it would help many wildlife reserves in South Africa. Okay, let's move on to some more animals I saw where the story is less sad. We can get back to the rhinos at the end, and I will show you a big rhino bull that was shot by a poacher in the shoulder but who survived. At the end, I will also show you a 2-day-old baby calf. Okay, so here we went on safari drives in the bush and we saw loads of amazing animals. We saw wildebeest, red hartebeest, kudu, ostriches. Can you see the males are black and the females grey? But the amazing thing was to see how the animals lived in synergy. The different types of antelope need grass at certain lengths. Some like it long, some need it short, and so they live together in groups so they can graze together in harmony, like zebras and wildebeest, or zebras with elands. We also saw some big giraffes. They eat the plants at the top of the trees that no one else really wants. But the antelope that is the most common is called impala. These are similar looking to the deer we have here, so a bit boring for the girls. But we also saw some gemsbok. These have the straight, long horns. The girls were not impressed that they couldn't see all the animals themselves. The girls seemed to like watching the hornbill finding some protein. As it has a short tongue, it cannot swallow it directly, so it has to fling the food to the back of the throat. The girls are not into their birds, they like the big mammals, so the giraffe was more intriguing to them, a bit of the opposite to the girls. But the fascination did not last long. The girls prefer the short-legged look and therefore were not impressed. And it was raining, definitely not their vibe. But then I wanted to show them another game reserve where we saw elephants and even babies. Now that sparked some interest. So did the warthogs grazing along. The girls remembered seeing the pigs in Montenegro. They liked those. I showed them the guinea fowl with the beautiful blue necks, but they preferred the chickens at their favorite small holding. They couldn't really understand why I had to leave them for some fancy looking chickens. So the girls loved their food, so maybe they would like the giraffes eating. But no, they still don't like these long-legged animals. Not even the black rhino impressed the girls. Maybe a night drive would impress them. We saw an elephant bull grazing right by the road. We used a big flashlight to spot the animals, but sadly it was a giraffe again. Poor giraffes. Therefore, I showed the girls a turtle, a squirrel eating a strawberry, and some amazing sunrise scenery. But the girls see all that here and are judging me for going all the way to South Africa to see what I could have seen with them here at home. So as promised at the beginning, I would show you a sweet gentle giant. This poor bull rhino was shot in the shoulder and somehow managed to escape the poachers. The bullet wound healed, but it caused massive damage to the shoulder, and poor Luke lost his place as a dominant male. He spends most of his time lying down and resting his legs. He's still such a handsome boy and a real reminder of how hard the anti-poaching teams have to work to keep these beautiful dinosaur-like creatures safe. There was also some great news while I was there. The herd of rhinos is growing. Here is a 2-day-old calf hiding in the long grass. Can you see the little ears poking out? How fantastic that these rhinos are coming back. Not easy when the pregnancy lasts 16 months. This truly was a fantastic conservation project, and if you want to donate to the Endangered Rhino Conservation Charity, I will link the details in the description below. I saw firsthand how well they budget and take care of the staff. So if you have stayed till the end, you can enjoy this little bonus of a baby baboon zip-lining down an electricity line. I hope you enjoyed watching the white rhinos at this conservation project. In the next video, I will show the girls the anti-poaching working dogs and how they love to work hard. I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.